Welcome to the first episode of Punch for 2017. We got quite a little episode ready for you. We got Donnie Sparrow coming in and talking about his illustration work with The Collector. Hank's gonna clue us in on the best of 2016 and what he's looking forward to with 2017. And of course, we've got Craig with the best picks in movies for the past year. So join us. We're gonna have some fun today. And first up, here's Tony and Donnie.
Hello, welcome to The Collector. I'm Tony Antoniuk. We'll soon be talking to Donnie Sparrow. Hello, Don Sparrow. It's good to see you again. I haven't seen you for a while, and now you're here in the studio talking about your art, which makes me very excited. Very, very excited. First off, I want to say I know that you've been working on a webcomic, which it excites me, but I don't know much about it.
Yes, I've been working on a webcomic. It's a retro romance webcomic. So it's like the old sort of 60s, 70s romance comics. It's usually one panel, it's one joke a week kind of, so it's like the melodrama and the sort of angst of those comics, and then one extra funny thing. So
so it's one panel. Are you using your life experiences being married for this?
Yes, that's a big several of them are funny, and when one of the funnier ones tend to be things that have conversations I've had with my wife, or little bon mots or whatever that have come up, and so then those end up being in the comic. A lot of them, though, are from, I'll read a real romance comic, and there'll be a situation in there where I kind of, I just think, oh, what a funny turn of phrase, and then I add another line to what the next line would be.
Okay, so have you been doing this for a while then?
Yeah. It's I've been doing them for a year. They're one a week, and I started about a year ago, and so.
So how do we find you online? This is the important part.
Yeah, you can link. They're mostly on my website. I got to be a little more deliberate about putting them up there, but you can also go directly to don'tknowmaybeso.wordpress.com. Awesome. So the comic is called Don't Know Maybe So.
I wanted to get that out because I think that's really important, because I heard about it. I heard it's amazing and people are talking about it, which is really good. So that's what I want to talk about first. Now I want to get into your art. I think the biggest thing I know about you is you actually draw stars. And you draw them, and you actually will give the actual drawings to stars, which is an amazing thing. I've never heard of that before, and it seems to be quite beneficial with getting autographs and stuff for you as well.
Yeah, I've been really lucky because I do with my work I do a lot of Comic Cons and different shows, and then they have guests. Now this all started with the first second Sask Expo, the official Sask Expo, where they had Brandon Routh. Of course, I'm a big Superman fan, and so to thank him for coming, I drew a picture of him, which they allowed me to present on stage, and it was like the coolest thing ever. And so then after that, I thought, well, why don't I try this again? So the next weekend, I had a show at the Edmonton Expo, and they had Dean Cain, another Superman. So I drew a picture of him, and he was very nice and really seemed to cherish the drawing, which is surprised me because I thought big stars would be getting gifts left and right, and they wouldn't want them. But with few exceptions, all the celebrities I've drawn have really liked them and been really gracious about it. So
awesome. Now I remember the Nightline one. I remember hearing about that you gave one to
a Dateline.
Dateline. I can't remember what his name was now though.
Keith Morrison.
Who's like a huge star in the States as far as news goes. Yeah.
He is. He once lived here, though. He once was a Saskatoon Star Phoenix guy, and he's a Canadian. Yeah, he's Canadian. And so that was actually just a blog post. I did a blog post because I love Keith Morrison, is his name, and I love Dateline. My wife and I watch Dateline, and we start to fear that we're going to murder each other, because every single episode is a spouse being murdered.
They're
by the
horrible,
way,
they're
very dark. I'm sorry about that. They're very dark. They're compelling.
Yeah.
Justice is served at the end of it. But Keith Morrison, he sort of has this very folksy kind of approach to these very macabre kind of stories. So I did a blog post saying how much I love Dateline, and particularly Keith Morrison, and then the Dateline people found it somehow. I guess they did a Google image search or something, and then that ended up resulting in they posted the image I drew on their website, and then eventually they got me to work for them. I did. There was an episode where, for whatever reason, they couldn't use the photos of the suspects for another murder, and so then they got me to draw drawings of them, and then they had. So I was the actually supplied artwork that they used within the show.
That is awesome.
It was amazingly cool,
yeah,
so they've kind of kept in touch. And
I've actually I saw that one just because I watch a lot of Dateline, but I watched that one just because you're on. Okay, we don't have a lot of time. I just want to talk about your art. So do you do most of your stuff then? I know a lot of stuff you do in cons and stuff, but you do a lot of just your own drawings and stuff. And I know that you've been doing comics for a long time. Mm-hmm. So what would be your influences? No, I'm just joking. So when you're drawing, are you drawing every day?
Just about, yeah. It's very directed by work right now. I don't get a lot of time to work on my own stuff, but it'll be commission based. So it'll be somebody wants a family portrait, or it'll be a magazine or album cover that's done in a comic book style. Yes. So primarily I'm an illustrator. And most of my work has been in magazines, not yet in comics.
Okay, so you're
soon,
but that's probably the way to go. Anyways, I'm sure that's.
But I mean, these are all comics, and so when I do have time, I like to do my own stories and my own comics.
Awesome, cool. I'm running out of time. This is kind of the end of the segment. I just want to say your art is awesome. Everything that you do is always really neat and clean, and it's amazing. I really appreciate you coming down today and showing some of your work. I like the stories about what, like, the best part is the stories. It's not like you're doing art and like, oh, I do art and this is it. Like you get to meet people and so forth. I think that whole Dateline thing was a pretty amazing story. There you go. Thanks, Tony, for showing up today. We got to go on. I think we'll head on out of here, and thanks for coming in.
Thanks so much for having me.
Punch TV is brought to you in part by Amazing Stories, providing Saskatoon with comics, games, toys, graphic novels, t-shirts, and more for over 22 years. Online at AmazingStoriesComics.com, in person on 8th Street in Saskatoon.
Hello, lovely ladies and or dudes. My name is Hank, and with me right now, for the very first time on TweetBeat, it's Tony.
Hello.
That was awkward. Thanks for being here, Tony. And what some of you may or may not know is that Tony has been starting to update his look a little bit. As you see, he's got a sweater on tonight for New Year's, and I can't afford a suit. So hopefully this coming year, my New Year's resolution, earn some money and buy a suit so I can dress up. Anywho, right now on TweetBeat, which is what we're doing right now, we are going to be talking of the best ofs of 2016, and there is a disclaimer that as of this point right now, okay, these are the best ofs, because in the future, in the next few weeks, I want to try and watch La La Land, because I haven't had a chance to see it. Maybe that was going to be on there. You never know, okay?
Yeah, so this is stuff that you've seen up until
Yes,
now.
right now, okay? So don't get mad and you're like, how come you didn't put that on there? Well, so maybe I haven't watched it yet. I'm trying, okay?
Yeah.
So
This is hard.
It is hard.
This is hard. It's hard to keep up with Christmas.
It's hard.
Yeah.
And New Year's.
There's a lot of shopping going on, I noticed.
A lot of shopping. A lot of shopping. So speaking of the best ofs, let's talk about movies first. Tony, what do you think that your, even not the best, maybe just your favorite movie?
Well, I think anything Star Wars that comes out is my favorite. So Rogue
Shocker!
One, yeah, Rogue One is definitely my favorite movie. I thought the action was spectacular and just all out great acting, and I think it was a great movie. So yeah.
Well, I enjoyed it too, and I'm glad we could go together.
Yeah,
that was neat.
Fun, yeah. We
Yeah.
had a good time.
Yeah.
We even shared popcorn.
We did. It was cute. So the best movies, I've got a few written down here. Now we are talking that from me, Hank, okay? Not endorsed by Shaw TV, Saskatoon, or anybody else in the Punch crew. Okay, these are just my picks, so don't get mad, okay? I've got an alphabetical order, to be fair. Arrival. Did you see it?
Great. Awesome movie. Loved Arrival, yes.
Loved Arrival. It's on there. Don't Think Twice.
No, don't think about that. I don't know what that is.
Great movie. You should watch it. And I'm sure as we're going through here, there's pictures of the movie poster so people know that we're talking. I don't know. Hell or High Water. Awesome.
Yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed that one.
Yes, you did. Bank robbery, kind of more of a Western feel. Hunt for the Wilder People, because they're in the wild. An amazing film. We've got The Lobster. Not crabs. Lobster. Loving. Manchester by the Sea. Moonlight. The Nice Guys, and for an animated film, Zootopia.
Zootopia was good. Yeah, I think the animation was pretty good, and Zootopia.
Who was your favorite character?
The crab.
You only saw him for a split second in the after credits. The crab was cute. Tony, do you watch TV?
I do watch TV, yes.
Do you have a favorite television show?
Right now I watch The Goldbergs, would be my favorite television show. And what's Kim's Confectionery, I think it's called?
Ooh, on CBC.
Yeah, it's a great show, yes.
Represent CBC. Okay, we're going to whip through these fast. We're running out of time here. So Hank's picks The Americans on FX, Atlanta on FX, Billions on Showtime, which obviously is your favorite show, Fleabag, the funniest show on television on BBC Three. You can also see it on BBC America. High Maintenance on HBO, Horace and Pete, only available on louisck.net, Narcos on Netflix, The Path on Hulu. The Path, right? You're with me? You should watch it. Stranger Things on Netflix.
Yeah, Stranger Things is awesome. Woo!
You've watched that one.
Oh, yeah, I watched that one, yeah.
For something that I just discovered a little while ago, Superstore on NBC.
Oh.
Have you watched it?
No, yes, I've seen the previews. No, I have no idea what you're
haven't?
talking about.
It is hilarious. It is an amazing television show that's on NBC of all networks. Veep on HBO, and of course, Westworld on HBO.
Westworld is definitely, I throw that in there. That is like a great show, and I'm really sad that it is over for this season because it was amazing and it was a great movie, or TV show. Movie/TV show.
Are you into comics like Criminal and anything that Brubaker and Phillips rock out?
Not really, no.
Oh, because Ed was writing some of Westworld, so I think he'd know
I
about
saw that, and I thought it might be horrible because he was, but it was good. He actually did a good job there.
Amazing. And now we're going to say that we are about out of time here on Tweetbeat. So again, I'm Hank. This is Tony.
Tony.
And coming up soon are the 2017 Hanky Awards. Of course, you can find that at Hank and Kelso and at Shaw Punch TV, so you can find out more about video games, comic books, and all the things that we didn't cover right now. So see you next time on Tweetbeat.
Collector.
Traitor.
Well, 2016 Countdown would not be on top of things if we didn't talk to the Movie Geek, and little preamble because we got a lot to talk about. So, Craig, give it up.
Okay, well, I'm going to talk about the best movies of 2016, but not the best movies all around, the best nerdier movies. So I'm going to rip through them pretty quick. One of the best ones of the year, actually one of the best ones of the year in total was Arrival.
Agreed.
Obviously I wouldn't even call it an invasion movie, but an alien arrival movie, I guess, with Amy Adams and Jeremy Renner and Forrest Whitaker. Just a really smart, brilliant, emotional movie.
Lots to talk about after the Valentine's. The aliens were awesome.
Yeah.
I don't like Amy Adams generally. She does the fish out of water, the gawk, but she held back, and I thought she was a very you could really relate to what she was going through, and she helped the audience through the process.
Yeah. I'm with you. I don't really love her that much. She's cute, but she's not a great actress, but she did great in it. Midnight Special. This one came out earlier in the year.
So good.
Yeah. So I don't want to really say too much about this one because you don't want to give too much away.
No.
But it's basically about Michael Shannon plays a father of a boy who sort of has special abilities. I'll just say that much. And they go on sort of a road trip because there's a bunch of people that want to, take him and harness his powers and do all kinds of things to him. So definitely one of the best of the year.
The angst of it is so great.
Yeah, and a great
that.
Father-son
Super good.
story.
Yep.
Star Trek Beyond, I'm going to say. I didn't like Into Darkness. And I will say, Star Trek Beyond, I think has some third act. It kind of fizzles out a bit in the third act, but as just a straight-ahead action movie with not too much else going on, there's not deep emotional stakes or anything, but just as a point A to point B to point C run and gun action movie, I really enjoyed most of that one.
Okay.
A couple horror movies. There's one called Don't Breathe.
Yeah, I haven't seen this. I heard it's awesome though.
Yeah, it is really good, and again, it's not without some of its flaws as well, but it's probably one of the most fun horror movies of the year. It's about a group of kids that break into houses to kind of steal things, and they break into the house of a blind veteran, and they find that
They're bad kids. They weren't raised right.
No, they weren't raised right, but they almost end up kind of becoming the good guys. Again, I don't want to say too much, but let's just say he has some in store for them, and there's some great twists in this movie too that you really don't see coming.
Okay, I like that. I like that in a movie. So.
Yeah, and so another one that played at our Saskatoon Fantastic Film Festival in 2016, Train to Busan. It's a Korean movie about zombies on a train, basically. So
Snakes on a plane?
Exactly. Zombies on a train. same. Yeah. So it's a father that's trying to get his daughter to Busan to see their mother, and the zombie outbreak happens, and so they're basically on this train that's traveling with zombies and through zombie territory, and it's just a really high-octane action thriller. And I should also probably mention, there was good stuff like Doctor Strange and stuff this year, but probably Deadpool for comic book movies is, again, not without its flaws, but it, I think, broke the mold of the comic book superhero movie a little bit and had a little bit of fun, with those tropes and those ideas. And
yeah, usually that break the fourth wall, look at the audience, it's annoying. He can get away with it. I thought it was charming, and I thought it was a lot of fun. I also felt disturbed a lot of the time about how many young kids were into it or had seen it or knew about it, because this is not for you.
The really interesting part of that one is Ryan Reynolds obviously was one of the guys instrumental in making this movie happen, and the studio didn't want to do an R rating, but it's kind of hard to do that character justice without doing an R rating. So they cut his budget and said, we'll give you $60 million, which is nothing in making superhero movies land.
Explosions are expensive.
Right. So, but he was like, okay, we'll make that compromise, and I think showed that you could still take $60 million and have some imagination and put out a great product. So,
they did.
Yeah, I thought that one was good.
Okay, so that was all good, and we want to keep things on the up and up and very positive, so we won't spend a lot of time on the dregs, but name what you think is the worst movie that came out this year.
I think one of the worst movies this year, at least in the realms of nerddom, was The Killing Joke, the adaptation of the one of my favorite Batman book, probably my favorite Batman book of all time.
It's in my top 3. It's a great book. I thought they almost got the darkness of it, but then they threw in all that extra stuff, and it was just bleh.
Well, the problem is they tried to tack on this whole 20-minute plot at the beginning with Batgirl and almost very sexist and stuff too. She's it wouldn't pass the Bechdel test where so she's kind of has a crush on Batman and stuff, and it's come on, make her a better character than that, and then it sort of transitions into the actual Killing Joke story.
Yeah, if they wanted some filler, just have her fight a bad guy
or something. Yeah, I mean you could have done a good job with that and written her well. I don't really see that. She doesn't necessarily. I mean, I guess I see why they put her in there, because then she's not just a disposable character that kind of gets shot. But it was just a horrible handling of it.
Yeah, great book though. Read the book.
Yes.
Just read the book. Okay, well that is a pretty good summation of what the year had in store for us, and hopefully 2017 will be even better.
I hope so.
So thank you for coming on and filling us in, and hope we had lots more for 2017. Check out right back after this.
Punch TV is brought to you in part by Amazing Stories, providing Saskatoon with comics, games, toys, graphic novels, t-shirts, and more for over 22 years. Online at AmazingStoriesComics.com, in person on 8th Street in Saskatoon.
Well, everybody else has had their best of, and so I wanted to take a little bit of time and talk about the best books that I read this year. I've picked out 3 that I think are completely stellar. I'm going to start with my little road trip to Toronto in the spring. Daniel Klaus finally put out a book, the first time in 5 years. This is a little gem, this epic about time travel. It's a beautiful love story as well. I got to meet him in Toronto at the library there. Big thumbs up to Christy for getting me tickets for that, and stood in line forever, but I got him to sign it. How juicy is that? This is an awesome story. Daniel Klaus is a little less bitter than he used to be in his younger books, and his illustration style is still amazing. I highly recommend this book. Pick it up. It's a really, really good story. The other thing that changed my life, I love Seth. Seth is a Canadian cartoonist and illustrator, and he actually hosted the Q&A section for Daniel Klaus in Toronto at the library, and he asked some really intelligent questions. They put out this documentary about his process as an artist and a little bit about his history, and it hasn't been available until now. So it just came out in this really juicy, really pretty little format. There's a book that's included as part of the DVD set, and there's lots of extras in there too. So even if you're not a Seth fan, if you're not familiar with his work, pick this up. You will want to read everything that he's ever done after you've gone through this, because it's a very, very compelling, well-executed documentary, and it's really interesting topic because Seth is a great artist. So check that out. And then the last thing, I wish I could get more copies of this. I could give a copy away to like every person that I know. Nimona is amazing. It's made by Noelle Stevenson. It's sold out right now. It came out, bam, off the shelf. Everybody snapped it up, and they haven't made any more, unfortunately. For those of you who might be familiar with her work with Lumberjanes, she is one of the creators of Lumberjanes, and she's been doing webcoms for like ever. And this is an awesome story about a shapeshifter named Nimona, and she decides to pair up with the sort of evil scientist in the kingdom. And she's like, come on, dude, like, let's do some evil stuff. Let's kick some butt. And turns out that there's like this complete Kabbalah going on that they uncover. But there's a really sweet relationship story that grows between Nimona and Blackheart. And it's awesome. It's great for any age. It doesn't matter what spectrum you're on, old, young, whatever. I think everyone can enjoy this book. So I really heartily recommend it. If you can get your hands on it, get your hands on it. And hopefully that they will do a second printing. I'm telling you, please, Harper Teen, make more copies of this book because more people need to get it because it's really, really great. So that's just a couple of the special books that I felt that came out in 2016. I'm really looking forward to what comes out in 2017. There's a ton of good stuff. And of course, new books are coming out every single day, so it's difficult to pare it down. But I thought that these were a couple of good selections. So Patience by Daniel Klaus, the documentary about Seth's Dominion, and of course, Noelle Stevenson's Nimona. So check those out for the new year. Well, that pretty much wraps things up for another episode of Punch TV. Thank you for joining us, and a big thank you to Donnie Sparrow for coming down and sharing some of his artwork and, of course, some great stories. Love that Dateline tip. It's always neat when you get those behind-the-scenes things. And, of course, thanks to our crew and to Tony and Hank and Craig. And we'll see you next time on Punch TV. Keep your dukes up.
Basement dwellers, pop culture Rockefellers. It's 2016's final frontier, so have a nerdy new year.
Hank's on the tweet beat, Tony's the collector, Craig's the movie geek, and Jody brings us all together. 2016, you couldn't last. Seems like things go by so fast. Pokemon Go's already Pokemon gone. It's upside down like a demigorgon. Kardashian's phony jewelry heist made it into our zeitgeist. Down in the States, things aren't so good. Trump's moving into a worse neighborhood.
Boy!
Obituaries too long to list. Bigger than Denny's biggest breakfast. But we gotta give shout-outs to Bowie and Prince.
And Willy Wonka's finally got his golden tickets.
Cohen, Lemmy, Snape and Ali, R2-D2 and Mr. Hockey. Man, it's so sad, but it's dark before dawn, and we got more important things to nerd on.
We're pasty basement dwellers, pop culture Rockefellers. 2016's final frontier, so have a nerdy new year.
Don't care much for world affairs and news. 2016 fed a pop culture muse. Luke Cage and Netflix are bulletproof. Preacher and Quarry raised the roof. Captain A, Civil War was overstuffed, and Ghostbusters, man, was underpuffed. Bats and Soups was a rotten mess. Doctor Strange was good, I guess.
Deadpool's handing out Valentine's.
Ash vs. Evil Dead chilled our spines.
Independence Day made us frown, while the Get Down, man, it done got down. Louis Anderson, the best mom on TV. Star Trek celebrated the big 50. Great comic books from Marvel and DC, and Black Mirror got season 3.
We're pasty basement dwellers, pop culture Rockefellers. 2016's final frontier, so have a nerdy new year.
This year Saskatoon was cool as snow. Carrie Fisher came for Sask Expo. We got Bartari,
King me!
lots of cool joints to be a gaming czar, and we sure did get our anime on.
At the Gambate Con.
There were 2 costumes for the Halloween. 11, and Harley Quinn. We still haven't found world peace, but we're closing out the year with Fantastic Beast and Rogue One. How could I forget as we try to outrun the Imperial threat? 2017, we hope you're great. This time next year, we'll watch episode 8. So from all of us, the funkiest bunch, have a great new year. Love the crew at Punch.
We're pasty basement dwellers, pop culture Rockefellers. 2016's final frontier, so have a nerdy new year.
Yeah, all right, baby. All right.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, baby. Good times.
I'm kidding. That's not what they really said.
So have a nerdy new year.
I hit the spot.